Hi everyone, Eve here, and I just wanted to share a reflection that I had when I was reading the Bible. And it's really a collection of the stories between Exodus and Deuteronomy, where the Israelites wander in the desert for 40 years before reaching the promised land. And this wandering symbolizes this spiritual preparation. And so the story of the Exodus is more than a history. It's actually a mirror of our own journeys. And we all have Egypt's, which is the places of limitation or bondage. And we all have a promised land and a vision of who we're becoming. But between those two places lies the wilderness, a season of preparation, trust, and transformation. In between the passages of Numbers, people often complain. They had doubt, they disobeyed, and at one point they even reached the border of the promised land and fear overtook them. And this passage really spoke to me because we all have this space. It's a space where we are being cocooned, or we feel like we're being isolated from the world because there's just so many things that's happening externally that it's really forcing us to go inward and learn more about ourselves in this process. And actually, that's the process, is to learn about ourselves. And I speak a lot about this in some of my videos, where when we experience something in the external world, that story that we curate is actually a very powerful story that mirrors a lot about the internal conditioning that takes us away from the divine order, that takes us away from the divine flow, the divine synchronicity of how we're truly meant to experience ourselves, our lives, and how we live through the world. And so this space where we've left our Egypt, we've made possibly certain decisions that got us here, and we're not quite there yet, exactly the promised land, what our hearts had envisioned us to get there. It doesn't mean we abandon that faith, because our senses are telling us that it's not there. The truth is, because we know and feel that there is a promised land, that is enough of a truth of its existence. And that acknowledgement of that existence within itself creates that wholeness within you. Now, that's the mind accepting, okay, that makes sense, that there's a promised land, I have hopes, I have dreams, I have these visions that I want to accomplish. And because I can accept that it's present within me, I can now embody all parts of that truth, and knowing that it's already coming. And it's not something that I have to chase. It's not something that I have to control or stress over. It is something that is already on its way. And when we have that unwavering trust, and our heart knows that we're automatically being redirected to that experience, a part of it is changing us energetically to actually fully experience that destination. Because every experience is really just an altered state of consciousness. And it's in that process of becoming, it's in that liminal space, it's in that 40 years of preparation. Whether that's 40 years in the world that most people probably spend 40 years figuring out this wisdom within their hearts, or whatever that 40 years mean for someone's journey. Because that's the time of consecration. That's the time of your becoming. It's that liminal space. It's that in between. It's that transition where you are no longer who you were, but your physical state has not quite caught up to what you're supposed to become. And this is where you leave the seed planted in the soil. This is where, the same way you don't keep digging up what you plant to check to see if the seed is growing. It's already being rooted. You are being rooted. This process is rooting you so that when you arrive at that destination, in that completeness, in that wholeness of that divine destiny that is promised for you, you will know where you came from, that groundness, that rootedness. You will know what you are. A tree that has purpose, a tree that knows that all the seasons will come so that you can grow. A tree that has no watch of times and dates, hours, but it just knows that the sun will rise every day. And because it has that unwavering trust, grounded and rooted in faith, and its own knowing and its own purpose, even if it sheds in a season, it knows that it'll grow back in the right season. Life happens in cycles. And this part of the cycle is just as important as the peak and the valleys. So, if that meant something for you, I hope you keep watching my videos, because God is really speaking through me, and I'm really excited to be a channel for that voice, and I'm really grateful to be a channel for that voice. So thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.